Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn Embers and today I am building a Georgian country home. So this house is part of my houses through the ages series, and the last one I built was the Stuart house, which by the way you can find right behind this one, and the last time I built that was around about 6 months ago. And the reason for such a long gap is because I couldn't make my mind up or having hiccups of what I should build for this era. So the main house of choice for this era would be a townhouse, and that's what I decided to build. But as I was building it, it occurred to me just beforehand I was building a Blossom townhouse. I was already building a townhouse, but it wasn't in the style of a Georgian townhouse. It was just a townhouse. So I was like, oh, that's okay. It'll be slightly different because this time round it's gonna definitely be a Georgian townhouse. But then as I was carrying on building said Georgian townhouse, it then occurred to me, oh, I think I have already made a Georgian townhouse, like unknowingly, because I was building the Sherlock flat from the BBC One Sherlock because I love and adore that show. The one I'm talking about is the one with Martin Freeman in it, and it was like, oh, I think I've already built a Georgian home without knowing it, because I was just basically building it because, like I said, I love Sherlock and I love that show and I really, really wanted to make it. But it turns out that house or that flat or apartment is actually a Georgian townhouse. And so I didn't really want to build another Georgian townhouse when I already got one on my channel and I already built one. And so I decided, okay, townhouses might be the thing to build during the Georgian era because there are loads of them. Because yeah, they went, oh, that's so cool, we can fit lots and lots of people in these buildings, that's absolutely brilliant, let's build lots of them. So it was a bit of a shame that I couldn't build a Georgian townhouse just because I really built one beforehand without knowing it. And so I was like, okay, what do I build next? So I then looked online. I then found an estate agent which sold a lot of Georgian houses and discovered, oh yeah, there's other things called Georgian country homes, which are absolutely beautiful, by the way. When you see one in real life, they're absolutely stunning. They're so pretty. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's build a Georgian country home, shall we? And I was in two minds. Do I go for a Georgian country home that you would just find happily sitting in the countryside somewhere? Somebody owns it, they're not fancy, they're just like a normal person who owns it. Or do I go and build a Georgian country home that has a little bit of meaning to it? It has, you can visit it, it's like a English heritage home or something like that. So that's what I decided to doodle so I could perhaps talk about it during like a voiceover. And so I found Marble Hill Home. It was just built for Henrietta Howard. She was a mistress of George II. I was like, oh, okay, let's build that because when I look at it, it looks like a Georgian home that I would think of. So that's what I decided to build. I decided to build Marble Hill Home or house. It doesn't really say, it just says Marble Hill. So I'm just going to call it a house because that's what it looks like. So that's what I decided to build. And it was going pretty well. I was feeling really good about this. I wasn't really too down about the fact that I couldn't build a townhouse because I basically forgot about it because I was really feeling good about this house. And it was going really, really well. I was even using items in The Sims 4 where they weren't being used as the item as it was intended for. So basically I was like, for example, using different bits of, I don't know, I was using items in the game that had a different use and I was using them differently to what they had. If that makes sense. I don't think that did, but hey yo. And I was really, really happy. Like, oh, look at me go. And I was just really happy with myself. And then I went indoors, and that's when it all sort of like fell apart because I think I found the layout for the Marble Hill house, and so I went for that, and I wasn't really feeling the layout. I tried to redo the layout over and over again, and I wasn't really feeling it. And then I decided to do the interior, and I wasn't really feeling the interior either. I even redid the interior twice. And the second time round, I felt a little bit better about the interior, but I wasn't going, this is wonderful, like I was doing with the exterior. And so I was like, okay, also with that build, it went over 3 stories. This build here only goes over 2, which is a lot more manageable for me, because with the Marble Hill house, it went over 3 levels and it had so much space. It had so many rooms. I didn't know what to do with them. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing with the interior. I don't know what the layout. I don't like it. And yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. It was put me off building a Georgian house and continuing with it. And so I was like, okay, I'm not feeling it. I'm not gonna continue with this marble house. So do I just find another country home to build that doesn't have any meanings, just like a normal country house you'll find in the countryside somewhere, or do I just delete it and just move on from the Georgian era and move on to the Victorian era? And once this series is all over and done with, I just go back to the Georgian era. But I was like, no, you cannot do that. You gotta build the Georgian house now, because you gotta do it all in order. And so I decided to delete and say goodbye to the Marble Hill house, and decided to look at other Georgian houses. So I went on a estate agent website. I then discovered this lovely Georgian build here and decided to build that one. And by this point and moment in time, I knew exactly what a Georgian house looked like. I didn't need the little paragraph underneath the picture to tell me what the house is, like what era it came from, whether it's a replica or anything like that. I just could tell if that was a Georgian house, like, you're a Georgian house, you're a Georgian house, you're just a pretty looking house, but you're not a Georgian house. And so if you're wondering what makes up a Georgian house, I'll tell you right now. I'll roll it down and everything. I've even got a website. So to make up a Georgian house, we have to have a hipped roof, which is this one here. Which is that one there. We also have like a half wall going around the hipped roof, which is what I've got here. We also have chimney stacks, no, just chimneys. We also have chimneys either side of the roof to tell you we've got fireplaces in there to keep themselves warm. We also have, they have a very simple facade. They have symmetry. They're all about the symmetry in here. They have a quite plain exterior. It's quite flat looking. They're either built with brick or stone. As you can see here, I went for brick mainly because the picture I was kind of following, they also had brick. They also have sash windows. Sash windows are actually very, very pretty. A lot of windows these days, they've probably been taken out and moved in with more like the double glazed windows, which are proper ugly. But you can have sash windows like made for you if you want to, which I would recommend, because sash windows, they are pretty. And something about something else, I'm not going to say that because I don't know what it is. Yeah, so basically very rectangular, very flat, very, very simple, lots of symmetry, big, light, airy rooms. They're like that. That's about the exterior. So very easy to spot for the exterior. And with the outside, you may have noticed I did put some vines and flowers all over the front of the house. I do carry that on with the back of the house and the side, just to sort of continue around. The reason I did that because Georgian houses in real life are actually really, really pretty, but I felt in The Sims 4 it was quite missable and quite like, we can just skip over that. It wasn't like a house you stop to look at, and so that's why I decided to put some vines all over this house. Also, you might find a lot of Georgian houses do have vines and flowers all over them, and it really just makes it very picturesque, very cutesy, very sort of like chocolate box, and just very, very pretty. So yeah, that's why I put lots and lots of vines around it. Also, I love putting vines and flowers all over my houses. I just think that it just really adds to it and makes it really pretty looking. And moving inside, like we have down here, the layout for this house, it was based off another Georgian house. As you can see, we are in like the extension of this house. The reason why I put an extension to the Georgian house and not just keeping it as the square or rectangular Georgian bit is because you do see a lot of Georgian country houses been extended throughout time. It just felt more realistic to me to add on to the Georgian bit, and it just give it a little bit more interest, you know. So moving indoors with the interior, if you're thinking what makes up a Georgian interior, well, we have sorry, I have all this information, but I did this ages ago. Like I said, I think I wrote all this information down about 6 months ago, so it's all over the place. So they went for fabrics which were striped and have spring-like flowers. Throughout this build, I decided to go for more of a here and now film look to the interior, but still keeping hints of the Georgian interior, like furniture and stuff like that. So for example, I made sure most of my furniture had clawed feet. I made sure most of the furniture was very dainty because they liked a little bit of daintiness in the Georgian era. The colour that I have here in the hallway and in the living room, I went for the Wedgwood colour, I think that's what it's called, yeah, Wedgwood colour, which is like a bluey colour. If you type it into Google, you get lots of variants of the same colour. You either get like a lighter blue or like a light blue with a bit of a green in it, or you get like a blue with a bit of purple in it. I went for the blue with a bit of purple in it because I knew we had that colour in the game. So yeah, in the hallway we have Wedgwood blue. Other colours include a pea green. I found it difficult to find a pea green in the game, which was unusual. I was like, oh, okay. It was unusual and interesting to find out that we don't have like a nice pea green. We have like a nice mint green, not pea green. Other colours include creams, which was good, sage, dusty rose, powder blue, and early Georgian, which is surprising. They went for burgundy and pink and the Wedgwood blue that I was talking about that we have in the hallway / living room. They also went for curved armed chandeliers, which is what I've got all over the place, all over this house here. They also went for stripes and very spring-like flowers. They also went for winged chairs. Now, if you don't know what they are, because I didn't know what they were either, I was like, winged chairs? What do you mean? What chairs with actual literal wings? No, so if you sit down in an armchair or like a really fancy place or places which is trying to be fancy, if you sit down like an armchair and you've got like sticky outy bits by your head or by your like eye line area, that's winged. That's a winged chair. I noticed in The Sims 4 they do have a surprising amount of winged chairs. They either have them in a more modern style or more classical style. The two winged chairs that come into mind from The Sims 4 to give you like a bit of like a visual aid would be if you have the tiny living, I think it's from, yeah, if you have the tiny living stuff, the armchair, that armchair is a winged with the like, if you have in the white swatch, it has the yellow cushion, it has a bit of a sticky outy bit at the top, that's a winged chair. Another winged chair would be the Discover University. So we have a sofa that is basically in the colours of the Georgian era. The sofa also has the dainty clawed feet, but what I'm talking about is the armchair version of that, because that has the winged thing going on, what we like. They also liked screens, so like screens. They like fans but don't have fans, because I don't think they're meaning like the ceiling fan one. This is the Georgian era. They like bronze ornaments. They also like pictures and formal grouping. That basically means, you know, when you were at school and you were asked to do class photos where you just take a photograph with all your classmates and you're like in order of your whatever your name is, in alphabetical order. Yeah, that's basically what it means. Those sofas here, I'm thinking this as like a formal a living room area. So little Jimmy, if you want little Jimmy to get into that private school, this is where you would sit down and have that conversation with the headmaster. So these sofas here, these are the Discover University sofas that I was talking about. These are actually perfect for the Georgian era because they have those dainty little clawed legs. They also have like the spring-like flowery pattern to them. And they also come in like similar colours to what I was looking for. So I was kind of confused and sort of like lost to what to put in this room, because you can't stick a TV in here because it's the formal room to talk to your headmaster about little Jimmy getting to school. So I was like, I don't know what to put in this room. I do figure it out slowly as I go through this. Also, just looking at that vampire urn, they do like urns in Georgian houses. So that's what I put down. So yeah, throughout this build, it isn't a completely Georgian interior. We just have like little items and nods of like colours and furniture to say, yes, this is a Georgian interior. Here I have absolutely no idea what happened there. I do not remember deleting that study wall. So I was like, what happened here? I don't actually know because I don't remember it, because I can't, was the window there? I think the window was still there. So it either happened when I was messing around with the roof line, because you saw me at the very beginning of this video, I decided to draw in my dormer windows, which was another thing that the Georgians like to have. But you may have saw the roofing on the dormer windows that I was building. The roofing kind of clipped the hipped roof. And so I was like, okay, that's not a good look. Also, when I went to save this house to my garage, just to have like a backup if anything went wrong, so I didn't have to build a fourth Georgian house, because that would have been sad. Especially when this one was turning out so nice. So yeah, I saved it to my library, and when I saved it to my library, I found that the pitch of the roof was too high, and so it kind of looked like the house was wearing a hat. And some houses aren't hat looking houses. You know, it's like people like myself. I'm not a hat person. I can't wear hats. I like my sister who can. She is a hat person. And so yeah, I decided to lower down the pitch of the roof, which meant we had to say goodbye to my pre-made dormer windows and just put in like the Discover University ones instead, because yeah, the walls were poking through as I decided to move down the pitch of the roof, and the roofing on the dormer windows that I made was just clipping through. So as I was going through the living room is more of the, I would say more of the like modern side to this house. So this living room is a little bit more modern. There's not many Georgian furnishings in here. It's very more modern. But I did try and include the winged chair, so in here it's not quite as winged as I first thought, that tiny living stuff chair there, but it will doodles. So when I was doing this living room, there was like a big empty area right by the fireplace there, and so I was like, okay, what do I do here? I don't want to put even more bookcases down because we have some in the formal living room. We have a bunch here in the study area. So I was like, okay, what do I put on this wall? It then occurred to me we have like pets in the game. Of course we do. And normally when I put pet items down, I normally put pet items down for a dog, which is very, very unusual because I don't have much interaction with dogs in real life. I have more interaction with cats because in my area, in the neighborhood that I live in, they have a lot of cats and not many dogs, and so yeah, I have more interaction with cats. And so I was like, no, let's put some cat items down because I'm always putting doggy items down in the game if I'm like remembering to put down pet items. And so yeah, I decided to put some cat items down, and I thought the cat of choice that would live here would be like a Persian cat, a Persian cat Fluffy. I just want like a really fluffy cat living in this house. Ragdoll cats could live in here. They're really, really fluffy. One of my neighbours has a ragdoll cat. He's really, really fluffy. But you do see him sometimes walking around with like really clumpy fur. And so his owner shaves him sometimes. And so some of the times when you do see him, he sort of like has a really fluffy head, have really fluffy tail, fluffy like legs and socks. And then his body's sort of like shaven. It's like, it's funny, isn't it? So anyway, moving upstairs, every room in the bedroom, like room bit, I decided to go for the colours that I haven't used already. So the colours I haven't used already would be burgundy, which is what I got in this bedroom here. I do change up some of the pictures or like some of the items, like the decorative items. So for example, in the glass area bit of this build where I'm thinking you would have your cup of tea, your afternoon tea in that glass area bit there. So you saw me put down some pictures or some sunflowers and the country view. I do change them to some Fruit Loops paintings that you can find on the gallery. So her name is Fruit Loops. She does some really, really nice paintings, and I really, really love them. And I basically got some paintings. It kind of looks like oil paintings just from the texture of them, and they're basically all like vases with nice little flowers in them, and they look really dainty and they look really Georgian-esque to me. So I replaced the sunflower picture and the country picture for those flowers. I also put them in this room where that clock is. I don't get rid of the clock in the burgundy room, I just move it to the other side of the wall. It does make more sense to me because that's the only clock in the room. So if you really want to know what the time is in that room, you have to, and if you're in bed, you have to sort of like look behind you, which didn't make sense. So I moved the clock just to another wall in that bedroom and just put down some Fruit Loops paintings. I love her paintings, I already said that. Oh, another thing that you would find in Georgian homes is striped patterns, which I already said, but the reason why I brought it up because they're like dado rails, and the reason why I brought it up because we have that going on in the hallway, upstairs hallway here. So we've got the stripes with the dado rail. Moving on to this bedroom, I used the dusty pink. I was kind of shocked to find that dusty pink was a colour to be used in the Georgian era, but yeah, we have a dusty pink bedroom. I think this bedroom is more of the Georgian era look. So here we have the what's it called? I have it here. Where is it? Geometric. No. What's that called? The divider. We have the divider there, which is another thing you find in screen. Yeah, we have the screen. There we go. We have the screen here in this bedroom. We have the stripes with the chair there. I put that chair down quite a lot in this build because I think that is a hooped. It's either hooped or shell chair, because that was also another thing that they liked in the Georgian era. Also, it's striped. This bed is very dainty. It has the spring-like flower pattern on it. I don't think it has the clawed feet, but we got the clawed feet from that Realm of Magic round table. And yeah, we've got the creams, we've got the dusty pink, we've got the stripes, we've got the spring flowers, we've got the clawed feet. You've got the fireplace. You've got to make sure you've got a fireplace in your Georgian bedrooms because that's how they stayed warm when it got cold. And yeah, we've got I hope this is not too confusing for you. I know it's sort of like bouncing all over the place. Yeah, it says, yeah, they're like simple repeated patterns, so I thought that rug was perfect. I was struggling with this room because I was like, what? Because I think at this point I was trying to find a pea green, and I typed in pea green on my phone, like on the internet, and I was getting very many variants of pea green, and the colour of pea green that I liked was very, very strange. It was like the colour pea green where you would overcook your peas and then you just all like leave them out, and so like they were a dark gone off pea green. It sounds nicer than it sounds, but that was the kind of pea green I was looking for and I couldn't find it, and so it kind of took me off slightly. And so I decided to put this as like a lovely purple. I know purple was not a colour that they used in the Georgian era, but I don't use purple in my own builds a lot, and so forth. Hang on, let's use a bit of purple here, shall we? Especially when I'm struggling to find a bit of pea green that I like. At the moment, I only have 4 bedrooms. I do manage to squeeze in a 5th bedroom because the 4th bedroom is quite large, so I do break that up into a 5th. Just quickly, I noticed I haven't told you who were the kings and queens of this era and how long this era lasted for. So basically this went on to, so it started at 1714 and then it went to 1830. We then have like a sub era that went from 1830 to 1837. That sub era was called the Regency era. It went on for 7 years, so not that long. So throughout this era we have a lot of Georges, which is why it's called the Georgian era. Imagine if this era was called the Keith era, you know. Every king of that era was called Keith, and so it's called the Keith era. But no, this era is called the Georgian era because we have loads of Georges. So we have George the First. He was from 1714 to 1727. We then have George the Second. He went on from 1727 to 1760, so quite a long time that one. George the Third, he went on to 1760 to 1820. We then have George the Fourth. He went on from 1820 to 1830. We then have William, just to break it up a little bit. We then have William the Fourth. He went from 1830 to 1837. So they are your kings for that era. No queens, unfortunately, but in the Victorian era, we will have a queen that lasts for a very long time. As you can see here, the flooring keeps glitching away from me. I did come out of this build and went back into it because sometimes that can sometimes work. I then noticed the best way to fix that glitching floor where it decides to delete my flooring. I discovered the best way to get rid of that glitch is to basically change your floorboards. Change your floorboards the other way round. So if they're facing landscape, turn them up to portrait, and then it fixes the glitch. So if you're having that, just turn them the other way around. Parquet flooring. Parquet flooring wasn't the thing to have in the Georgian era. But as I was looking at Georgian houses on this estate agent website that sold a lot of Georgian houses, a lot of the Georgian houses that I was looking at had parquet flooring. And so I was like, okay, let's just use the parquet flooring, because in the Marble Hill house, I decided to use the type of flooring that you would more see in Georgian houses. And with the pastel-like colours I had on the wall, it was just all like washing it out, because that floorboard was very, very light in colour, and it was just all like washing it out, and I wasn't really feeling it. And I did that interior twice and I still wasn't feeling it. So I'm so glad I deleted this, because I loved the way it turned out. The front of the house with the garden, I basically took that from another house that had nothing to do with the Georgian era. I just thought it was very pretty, picturesque looking house. You could find like a postcard. It was very, very pretty. I basically just took that garden and stuck it on this one. The back garden, I love it. We have a laundry room, yes, but I also stuck a wash line also outside, because that seems like a very English thing for me to doodles. And yeah, basically this is it. So I hope you don't mind this voiceover. It was a bit all over the place. I'm not really feeling myself of late, but I felt guilty not getting like a video out for you on Wednesday. So I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And please like and subscribe, and thank you and goodbye.